live from the Big G's Pizza Studio on Clark Street. This is 5 Songs with Friends, Chicago's music discovery podcast. Film School returns in May 2019 for an East Coast headlining tour with supporting act Mint Field and a brand new EP. This is on the heels of the September 2018 release, Bright to Death, their 5th album and first full-length LP since 2010's Fission. Recorded over 8 days in November 2017 on the outskirts of Joshua Tree, this luminescent collection of 11 songs is the finest showcase yet for the band's signature layered sonic tones, psychedelic atmospheres, and seductive melodies. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Greg of the band here. Greg, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm super stoked to have you on. How are you guys feeling getting ready for this tour? I know you said you're feeling a little under the weather, but overall, how are things going?
I mean, we haven't been back to the East Coast in, a long time, 8-10 years maybe, something like that. So Midwest and East Coast, we're really excited about it. It takes a lot of planning and whatnot, and I can't believe it's already here.
That's crazy, man. Well, so you are playing a show here in Chicago. This is a Chicago music podcast, and you're playing on May 5th, which is Sunday, at Empty Bottle. We'll talk a little bit more about the tour and things like that down the road. But before we do, can you tell me just a little bit of a background on film school and how you guys got started making music, earlier in the 2000s? Yeah,
sure. So I put together a bunch of songs in 2001 and recorded them and had some different friends play on that. Some of the people were Scott Camberg from Pavement and Kyle Statham from Fuck. That was under the Bright to Death, Brilliant Career album. And from there, Justin and Niles and I don't think Jason recorded on that album, but Jason also came in, and we started playing some shows a little bit around town with some of those songs, and we also started to write our own material together. In 2003, we ended up putting out an EP with Scott Camberg, who had a label at the time called Amazing Grease, and that EP was called Always Never. And enjoyed it, had a really good run with it. And we decided to put out a full length. Beggars Banquet ended up picking us up. So we put out 2 albums with them. That was 2005 2006 and 2007, I think. The band kind of broke up halfway through. That was after the self-titled album. I moved down to LA with Jason, and we reassembled and put together a group, and I ended up writing a lot of the Hideout album. And then I think around in 2011, I think it was, we put out with this new group down in LA. We put out Fission, or 2010. Did a little touring on that, and then kind of just called it quits. I was just kind of fried. 2015 came around, and our old drummer, Donnie, brought us all back together for a reunion show with the original kind of Beggars lineup that did the 2003 EP and the 2005 LP. And, we liked it a lot, so we ended up recording an EP called June. And then we liked that so much, we ended up doing a new album that was Bright to Death. And kind of momentum keeps going, and we're about to put out an EP this summer.
Excellent. Well, so that's an interesting kind of dynamic to me of the fact that you guys had taken some time off. You do a reunion show. You realize how good it feels to be back together. Like what was that conversation like as a band of getting everyone back together?
Well, I mean, it was both kind of relieving and difficult, right? Because it wasn't really the best split up, and we hadn't, the guys from San Francisco, the state in San Francisco, and the guys in LA really didn't keep in touch with each other, and it was tough, But I feel like in our hearts we all knew that we really wrote the best music together. and you know, some time had passed. We'd kind of grown up as individuals, and you know, felt that we wanted to try to like see how, you know, if we could do something again together after that reunion show. And you know, immediately I felt like we were just writing, you know, great music again. Just kind of like this natural connection between the five of us. And yeah, I mean, if you want to know about the feelings around it, it was difficult, but also, you know, it felt right.
Awesome. Well, so tell me about like how did it feel getting back in the studio after having so many years off? I mean, I know you said that it sounds like there's a lot of natural chemistry, but how had the sound evolved in that window, and what was it like to get back in the studio in 2017 to put together Fission? Or sorry, to put together Bright to Death since Fission, sorry.
Right. Yeah. So Bright to Death came about because we were all wanting to make an album, but just couldn't find the time with our busy lives. So what we did is we went out to Joshua Tree, and we just basically, you know, turned off all our phones and computers and wrote music for, I think it was 8 days straight. And we, you know, we'd get up in the morning, make breakfast, go out to the studio, work on music till about 2 a.m., come back, go to sleep, do it again. And I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but you know, when you get older, you really appreciate being able to find time like that. You know, to carve out time like that, to be able to be creative and to be able to reconnect with you know, your creative partners. You know, personally, considering like all that we had been through as a band, and you know, as individuals too. I mean, there was a lot of things that we had to grow through, difficult things too. You know, like not just like, you know, well, just difficult things. You know, so I feel incredibly grateful as a person, and I feel like the band in general probably feels somewhat the same. You know, we're very protective of our relationships right now, and you know, we just kind of we try to be, you know, as honest as we can about where we're at as people. And you know, and I think it can be heard in the music. I mean, our music, you know, I don't know, I've been told by some people, that it's possibly even stronger than it was back then. You know, I mean, I don't really know. I think that for me, it feels like it's just flowing, just like music is flowing. The creative relationships are growing. You know, the friendships are, you know, coming back to friendships that were broken and mended. You know, the friendships are stronger. You know, and I just feel like it's, you know, things are in a good place when you think about, you know, the context of everything.
Absolutely. Well, so tell us about, we got a song today called Go, But Not Too Far. So is this, it looks like it came out as a single recently, but are you guys planning on putting it on this EP, or can you just kind of give me some background on the song?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of, well, we're not sure yet, maybe 4 or 5 songs in an EP. It's the new EP going to be coming out in summer. We're not sure on the date yet, but you know, lyrically, I can tell you that it's a little bit complex. It's not necessarily about like, I mean, I think that the title "Go But Not Too Far" kind of hints at this idea of you know, wanting space from somebody, but kind of wanting to keep them close. And actually, it's really not even about that. It's more about a feeling of wanting someone to do well, but your own insecurities and vulnerabilities are trying to keep them, or not trying to keep them, but being suspicious of them actually doing well to the point where you might lose them, or they might make you feel bad about your life. Lots of compare and despair on social media. And you know, it kind of like started with that, like this idea of just seeing like how, you know, people post things that are just like, you know, the best days of my life kind of stuff, you know, and, you know, and I see the way that people react to that, you know, and I see that some people are excited for them. Some people get really down on themselves especially if it's a close friend who's doing something that you feel like you could do or should be doing, there's like this jealousy almost. So it's partly about that, and it's partly about some other situations. But I'd say that's kind of like where it's coming from.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think that's something we can all relate to, like, especially, as you mentioned with social media, we see people, friends and family, at least perception is that they're, out there living the quote unquote best life is the phrase we use today. Yeah. Right. And
right. Exactly.
We want to be happy for them, but it's, at the same time, we're all narcissists in our own right. And we don't want to see people doing too much better than us. Right. So it's interesting.
Especially your friends, right? Especially your friends. I mean, it's like, because, it's like you can be like, when you look at people who are, that you don't know, you can like, kind of assume that, oh yeah, well, they're just like better than me, or they're just doing a great job and whatever, I can accept them as being better. And then, but your friends, you have this like, this weird competitiveness, and also like this, this standard you kind of have for them in your head, and, like you'll see people post something where it'll be like, I just made this amazing film. It's taken me like 2 years to learn this software, and I had to put together all these people to help me, look at like, 20 likes, and then the next day they'll post something about like their cat, like and then I'll get like 200 likes, and I feel like it's just, it kind of comes from that place where, like, yeah, good, man, awesome for you, kick ass, but don't kick ass too much because it's threatening to me.
Right. Like if you're a 10 out of 10, you want everyone in your world to be like a 9.5, but you don't want them to be any higher than that. Right.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Interesting. Well, let's jump into it. Let's play the song, and then we can, we'll talk a little bit more about the tour. So this is a song called Go, But Not Too Far by Film School.
Inside of her it glows at night. I can be beside of it and feel it's alright. All alone, I cared about some thoughts I couldn't hold. Figured out I'm a part of it that keeps me tight. Go. A side of this that I keep alive. It's a break from the rest of it that you know I hide. Out tonight I found the same fare that's bought and sold. Just another sentimental take and sounding right. Not a
right, so that was Go, but Not Too Far by Film School. So we alluded to it earlier. You're heading back out on the road for the first time to the Midwest and the East Coast in a while. So what does that look like for you guys?
Well, let's see. We're starting in Detroit. It's a lot of zigzagging, to be honest. Detroit to Cincinnati to Chicago to Cleveland to Brooklyn to Philly. And then we're going to be playing up in Canada at a festival called Distortion Festival in Montreal. And then we're going to be playing the Canadian Music Week Festival in Toronto. I think there's one day off toward the end of that. But yeah, it's a pretty aggressive schedule. It's going to be interesting. I have to really try to get as much sleep as possible with all the drives and all the shows, late shows. So yeah.
So you guys are doing this probably the first leg from LA to Detroit, like in the next couple of days. Then is that right at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like tomorrow.
We're flying out on Thursday. Actually, we're flying out. Detroit is on Friday night, and then and Chicago's on Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. So Cinco de Mayo show at Empty Bottle here in Chicago. We're very excited to have you.
I didn't even put that together.
I know. I love it. Well, so tell me, man. So, how are you guys structuring it? Are you bringing anyone with you, or are you just kind of finding local acts to fill the opening spots, or what does that look like?
No, so we will have Mint Field from Tijuana, Mexico, opening all the shows, and we actually are also both bringing projectionists. So I think they're going to be pretty cool shows. I think they're both going to, both these guys are really talented visualists, and it's ironic that we're both bringing visualists. Usually bands bring front of house, meaning sound guys, sound engineers. In this case, we're both bringing visualists. So it kind of shows you what we put the importance on at the live show. But I know that these shows are going to sound great too, because we've been working on this stuff for a while, and all these clubs are really great.
Awesome. All right. So we mentioned Mint Field briefly real quick, but are there any other kind of under the radar artists that you're really loving, maybe out in LA or in general, that you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah. I mean, there's a band in LA that I like a lot called Wild Signals. As a matter of fact, one of the singers in Wild Signals, Noelle Breitabel, she sang backup vocals on Go, but Not Too Far. So, she's definitely got a beautiful voice, and I was so happy that she could come out and sing with us.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely check out both Mint Field and Wild Signals. So, Greg, tell me, man, where can people stay in touch with Film School to hear about your upcoming EP and maybe other future tour dates, things of that nature? Right.
So we post everything to Facebook and to Instagram. Those are both at Film School Music handles. We also have a website, filmschoolmusic.com. But we're a little bit more interactive on the social channels.
Perfect. Well, good stuff, man. I hope you get well soon and rock this upcoming tour, and I'm looking forward to hearing the EP as it comes out this summer.
Thanks so much. I really enjoyed this.